So I have 3 new stencil sets that came out. I'm gonna pull them out here. Some scraps of paper that I might need. So the sets, there's one set that is it's an expansion kit for the mini paper dolls, and it has like this little set of wings, some hats, a dress, a little overcoat type of thing, a little vest. And then when you come to these little pantsuits, the stencil cutting people made these really, really thin, so they're practically useless. So but I still liked them. So when I was using these, I still enjoyed them. I just have to remember that this kind of basically doesn't work, and I wanted to leave them. I'm going to cut them out, but I wanted to leave them so you kind of had an idea of how thin they're not usable, and so you need to maybe cut them out. So this set, there's another set that will be discounted too, but this set will be discounted because of that little flaw in the printing. So I'm going to put that to the side, and then we'll go to the next set. So this, is it this set? This set. This is the Season of Invention, and I love this set, even though it has some flaws. So, with this set, these lines are really, really thin, and so I use a stamp pad and an applicator. So I use the Tim Holtz mini applicator for these, and they have the little, I'll show you, they're at the bottom here. Whoops. I'm loving these mini applicators for it just helps me to get into small places. So I use this with a stamp pad on this one just because those lines are so thin, but whenever I use the applicator, you can see those lines really nicely, and if they were bigger, it would make it really obnoxious. And so I do recommend stamp and applicator for that. And then let's go to, so, and then you have the little hat there. Here, these are way too thin to use, so I just omitted that and just used them without that. I could draw the lines in if I wanted to, or I could leave them as is, as tiny little hats. That one's fine. The hand, I wanted a more masculine type of hand that had some like a little more grit and muscle to it. For whatever reason, I was craving that right now with this, and just thinking about the hands of an inventor kind of thing, that they're kind of just that type of shape is kind of what I was looking for. And then this is another one. This is perfectly fine, and it works great with the applicator, and you can see the lines are just really nice and thin. So that one you have to be careful with. And these wheels, and I just think it turned out so cute. I love this. I love this set. But I will say this is unusable as is. So it's going to get slight discount because of that. But I love this set. Love, 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 love this set. And so I didn't want to return it because people have been waiting for this. And so I just kept it. But one of the things that I did with this is I painted some flowers and cut out some hearts. And I'll show you why in a minute. But I'm going to put this all back. I prepped everything by some things I watercolored, some things I just used the stamp and applicator for, just to kind of get a head start on this stuff. I kind of was playing with it just also so that I could talk to you about any problems I encountered, anything that you needed to maybe think about whenever you were creating with these. And so I've prepped some things. We'll put them together. We'll assemble them together. Oh, let's put that in there. I thought the goggles turned out really cute. Really, really cute. Okay, and then this one is the keys to heart and wings. And this one, it has a key background. This isn't a part of that. It has a fun heart stencil. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Let's flip these over. Okay, so it has like the sacred heart with the heart and the flames. And these are fairly thin, so I stamp those and they come out really nice with the stamp, but I watercolor the hearts. Any background I usually stamp. I just kind of like it better if I stamp it. It's easier. This one comes with a bird and a moth. And I've just been obsessed with birds and moths lately, and I just wanted a stencil that kind of matched that folky vibe of that too. And then there's a heart and a banner. And then there's like an anatomy of a heart here. I did something in my journal not too long ago like this with the, drawing something like this. And everybody was like, you need to do a sticker. And so instead I did a stencil, and I'll work on a waterproof sticker later. But this set is quite big, but it doesn't really have any flaws. I love this set. So this one is as is, but the other two are going to have a slight reduction in price just because of those few flaws. But I wanted you to be aware of them. And I wanted to show you the different things that you could do with the anatomy of the heart. So these ones I watercolored, and then I just added little details with watercolor, and I think this is like a little pin. I just kind of embellished each portion separately and just kind of made it its own. And these I left black because I thought it would be fun to write like white with white and put words. You could put quote, like a fun quote throughout it. I know, I just wanted to leave it blank so that you could doodle, you could do anything. And then I did do one that I was going to break up. One of the hearts I was going to break up, and then you could like add pieces to other ones. But that didn't, I don't know, when I was playing with that, I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. So we'll figure that out later. But so I do have, and these here I did with a stamp pad, and I really liked it because it was the what is it, let's see what color this is, the black soot, and it just came out just dreamy. I just like the way it came out. Same with this was done with the black soot, and I just like the way that it came out, and you can still see the vintage paper beneath it. I really like it. So I had those. And the flames I did with just a yellow stamp pad. And I might go into these and add some more details to make them pop more. I use bright watercolors for this. Just, I don't know, because I'm going to be doing some things maybe on top of them. But then if I left them the same, I thought it might be, I don't know. I just was trying to do different things to see how it panned out. So this is the banner across the heart, and so you could do like a fun word across it. You could even interswitch this, but one of the other things I thought could be cute is stacking the hearts, and then you could add the banner, and then you could use these all together, I thought, and make like a cute little heart like that, a little sacred heart with a sash across. Anyways, so just some ideas with that. So I am going to put this, I'm going to group everything together, and then I'm going to put this to music, and I'm just going to create and have you watch me work these out. And I have this little tin here that I carry all of my stencil stash. I don't know why I have papers in here right now. I think it's because I was creating on those. And anyways, so I have these, and like whenever I sit down and create, I just throw these into these little plastic envelopes, and I love these envelopes But then whenever I come back, when I go to create, I have all this stuff already created, and I've labeled them so I know which stencil set I'm working from. And it's just been really, really nice to do that. Mountain Memories, the Seasons, it's not called Funky Botanicals. I think it's Wild Botanicals. I don't know why. So there's the Funky Botanicals. I think I had like a hiccup in my brain, but it's not the Funky Botanicals Mini, it's the Wild Botanicals. And then that's Funky Botanicals there. And then just some of my swatches here. So anyways, so I just have this because I use this stuff quite often in my journaling, and I just like having these little labels on them. And so anyways, so I'm going to put this back in its envelope, and then I'm going to clear up my space, get some glue, and then I will put this to music and just let you watch me create with this stuff. And then I'll put them back in my envelopes, and then they'll be ready for me whenever I'm ready to create or work in my journal or whatever it is. It's funny because once I've done this, most of the creating is, like, once I get these put together, most of the creating is done. I just have to do layouts with them. So it's nice to batch work like this just because you can get into a flow with it. And I really, really like the flow that happens when I do this. So I'm going to clean this up, and then I will come back and film me going through these. to add feminine touches to them because I want to use them in a more feminine way. So I added, I painted some florals and put them on the hats and hands here. I like those. I left one blank, I think. Oh, it's over here. Because I want to do something else with it. But I like the black roses. That was kind of fun. And the daisies were kind of fun too. So I have those. So this is the, what is this one called? Season of Invention. And then I'm going to put this in its little stash here. All the little pieces. So I can come back to these if I want to. But I'm going to put them in here for right now. And then this one is the keys to heart and wings, and I had so much fun with this. I just think these are so cute. This one I left blank because I wanted one left blank so that whenever I'm journaling I can add something to it that matches what I'm doing instead of building around it. There's a little key that I left there. This one was kind of fun. I just took two and the color ones, cut it out and put it on there, and then left a few pieces black, and I kind of like that. These are ones that I made when I first got the stencil set, and basically I just watercolored just different little blocks of color, and I really like how these turned out. This one, it says your heart has value. I liked this one, and then I took the gold pin on the flames of these. I just thought that was kind of fun, a fun little addition there. I did use some gel pens and acrylic pens somewhere. I can't remember. I used this grabby dual tone pen, and then I had these pens. All of my supplies there are on my website, and they have images. So you can click the image and it will take you to the Amazon cart, but below it is anything that's not on Amazon. But it kind of gives you an idea of what I'm using. And so I always have that updated because I use the same supplies over and over again. So anyway, so that's available on my blog, on my website. This one I thought was fun. I did just doodling, and I enjoyed that. This one I broke down into little sections. I thought that was kind of fun. I left this one blank because I want to doodle on it later. I did some doodles on these, which I thought was kind of fun with the white. I probably should have made the black darker like this, but I think I like how it's subtle. It worked out good for me. So anyways, we'll put these away. Then I have them for later. I love having a good stash of these prepped and ready to go. It was a good excuse to get started on it. Now this one is the Paper Dolls expansion, and I created these girls and then added the wings to them. I think I have one that I didn't add wings to because I wanted to do something different with her. They're kind of sticking because of glue, but some of them have hats. So this one doesn't have a hat. I just think the hats are kind of fun. This one I should have done in like a blue instead of the brown. But the contrast is pretty good. I think it looks good. They're fun. These will be fun in my journals. So, and then I have extra wings to add to the other girls that I have in here too. And I'll probably doodle or add things to the dresses later, but I don't like doing that until I get ready to journal. This one I'll probably leave just as it is because I really like this one a lot. I love everything going on here. That jacket is kind of fun. So I'll probably leave that one just as it is. But anyways, this was fun. I hope you enjoy these, and they are available on my shop now if you are interested.